I'll be honest, I had some anxiety. I had some fear building up that maybe I wasn't that good. Maybe it wasn't going to happen. What's up? How you doing? Welcome back to A Moment in Time with yours truly, Aaron Thomason. I'm super excited that you're with me. But listen, did you get us 3 people? Did you tell them what's up? Did you tell them how we're getting better? All right, so let's jump into it. So we've been talking about distractions and how distractions can obstruct our vision to allow for us not to be clear and to have the confidence to move forward, because we know that clarity breeds confidence. And when we have clarity, then what resides in our mind can ultimately be the reality in which we live in. All right, we've talked about that. And so recently we talked about fear and how fear is paralyzing, how fear allows for you to stay paralyzed in an uncomfortable moment because you're concerned about all the steps and of the destination as opposed to moving in the direction, but ultimately allowing for action to conquer fear. All right. So I want to tell a story. And then again, a lot of my stories right now have been basketball related. So y'all forgive me, but I got one. And I want us to be really clear on this particular story. This story was maybe, I think I was going into my senior year of high school. And so I started getting better, playing AAU basketball. There was a couple of schools calling, but it was nobody serious. And so because it was nobody serious, and I started seeing the pressure, like I had one more season to get somebody to say, hey, we want you to represent our university. I'll be honest, I had some anxiety. I had some fear building up that maybe I wasn't that good. Maybe it wasn't going to happen. But there was this camp that was on the books. It was this camp that I was invited to that was up in upstate New York, in Buffalo. And my folks, we ain't had the money, right? We just did not have the money. And I'm thinking that, man, this might be the camp to give me the exposure that I need to help me get the scholarship that I gotta have to go to college. But, hey, we ain't got the money. I don't know where it's coming from. We had other stuff that was going on. Like, it was really, really tight. And I thank God for this gentleman. He has now gone on to glory, Pastor Gary Green. But Gary Green at the time, he sees me and said, hey, big fella, what's up? I said, what's going on? And he says, what's going on with your recruiting? And, I told him, I said, well, I got this stuff kind of going on. And, I kind of, you can tell I was him and the horn and kind of giving that. And I said, but I got this camp that I really need to go to that I don't know if I got the money. He said, how much is it? So I gave him the price of the camp. He says, all right, give me a couple of days. I'm going to go ask some people and see what we might be able to do. Now, in my mind, my mind is blown right now. My emotions are now shattered with gratefulness because he took the time to ask me and then said he was going to go work on something for me. 2 days later, I get a phone call at the house. Hey, figured it out. Such and such at the church says, come by the church, pick up the check. Here's the money for you to go to camp. Oh, I'm like, I am ecstatic at this point because now all of a sudden, I still know that I need to get to college, but I'm willing to move in the direction even though I don't have all the steps mapped out. So speed ahead, I go to the camp and play against some of the best players from both Canada and kind of upstate New York region. And I played really well. I had a really, really good camp. Now, here's what I didn't know. What I didn't know at the time, that it was actually an off recruiting cycle for the country. So it wasn't a lot of scouts there. But what happened is that I got clarity on where my game stood with some of the best in the country, and I became more confident. So no longer did I have fear that it might not happen. I was clear that it was gonna happen. See that? Action conquers fear, but I had to be willing to be honest with Gary when he asked me, hey, big fella, so what's going on? Hey, big fella, what's happening? And not to just say I couldn't, because I didn't know how to get the money, but to expose myself, being honest, to say, you know something, I got this camp, but I don't know if we have the money as a family to get it done. And it allowed for him to help me meet that need. Here's why I'm telling this story, is that I said it before. Third step that we talked about, action conquers fear. And the only way we're going to conquer fear is we got to take one step. For me, the one step was, at least I told Gary what was up. And then Gary did his next part by seeing if he could take a step to see if he could get the money. And then I went to the camp. And you see that? All of a sudden, each one of those steps, being honest, Gary doing his part, me going to the camp and playing well, were steps in the direction of becoming a Division I scholarship athlete that ultimately happened, though it had never happened before in my family. This is what I want us to understand. Fear is a real emotion for us. And fear will paralyze us to not allow for us to move forward. But action will conquer fear if we're honest about how we process the emotion and take one step in the direction of where we believe that we're going. It is more important about your direction and not how you get to the destination. And fear is going to come tell you that if you don't know the next 12 steps to get to your destination, don't start. That's a lie. That's a story that I live on, that I'm here talking to you about because I took one step and then took another step. And ultimately, those experiences are things that I stand on now in life and help others through. Do me a favor. I want you to understand that we're getting through this together. I'm excited. Share this with 3 people. Do me a favor. Don't hold this to yourself. There's somebody that needs to hear about a kid. I wasn't a little kid. I was a bigger kid. But hearing about a kid taking one step to be honest in the direction of his goal, ultimately allow for him to achieve it and change his whole life. You know somebody like that. Stop burning yourself out talking to them. Give it to 3 people. Give it to them. But also do me a favor. In the comments, I want you to tell me, what one step are you taking this week in the direction of where you need to go? You might not have it all mapped out, but you need to take one step this week. And if you're having a hard time figuring out what that one step looks like, do me a favor. Hit me in the comments, slide into the DMs, hit me on my phone. Let me help you. The thing I want you to remember, I want you to ever forget this, is that regardless of fear and everything else, that just because you started out on this journey to get better, it doesn't mean that you weren't already good. So until next time, I'll see you then.